Hi, my name's Gerry. I'm a boat owner, and this happens to be my boat. It's a twin troller X10, and I've done all kinds of things to it, some of which I have turned out to like, some of it I haven't. So I just thought I'd kind of go over the things I like, some of those things that I don't like, and why. Come see what I've done. There's a lithium battery in here. One advantage to it, if you haven't watched one of my videos about it, is that the lithium battery gives you 100% of its voltage from the beginning to the end, and then it dies. I've never experienced the die part of it. I've been out fishing all day long and not had it run out. My old lead acid battery, as the day went on, top speed got a little slower and you knew it was getting a little bit tired. This is like as if it's the first time you're stepping on the pedals early in the morning, even though it's in the middle of the afternoon and you're about for hours. I have a pigtail like this here, connected to here. When I get back, I plug this in. I plug this into the wall, the charger. It's Bluetooth. I can tell when it's running with the Bluetooth with an app that I have on my cell phone. I can tell how it's charging and everything. Turns itself off. I can leave it plugged in. I don't have to worry about it. And this is a 15 amp charger. It charges this lithium battery in about 4.5 hours or so. Very good.
Below this video, click on Show More to see links for many of the items used in most of my videos. They are there so that you can locate them in case you are interested. Seeing Show More works best when viewing this video on a tablet or a laptop or a computer.
What is this? This is a fuel bottle. If you own the Honda, this fuel bottle, I have two of them. One I store here, the other one I store there. This holds just about the same amount of fuel that the Honda onboard fuel tank does. That means that with this tank, the tank that's over there, and the Honda full, I can run for 3 hours at wide open throttle. That gets me wherever I want to go. I don't go farther than that. While we're on the issue of fuel, best gas can you can ever have, especially if you take a gas can into the boat with you. Now get that off. Take the end of this off. Fuel will not come out of this unless you have this button pushed down. You push the button, you probably can't hear it, but it's filling up. And when it gets as full as it can get, you release the button, it cannot overfill, and it automatically stops filling at about here. This works really good at filling the Honda motor too. So if you turn that upside down and push that button, just keep that all the way in, it will only fill up to the bottom of this little spout, even though here's the top of the filler is way up here. So it leaves you some space. Safe gas can and works really good. And if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know this is the way how I make my transducer holders. It's PVC pipe. If you go to one of my videos, you'll be able to see how I do this. That one's here. This one's here. I don't have to worry about holes in the side of the boat. Put it here, slide it all the way down, and I'm ready. I have a bilge pump here. This is an 1,100 gallon an hour bilge pump. Sail Flow is the brand, not that it makes any difference. And I plumbed it so that that sits all the way on the floor and then comes out. And I have a switch here, I don't know if you can hear that I mounted, and it has a fuse on it. And it runs that bilge pump manually only. I don't have it automatically. And it bilges up over the top and out the side. Same with these. I've done this long enough that I realized I'm not ever going to change this. I really like these, and if I wanted to change it, all I got to do is cut the PVC pipe, put a coupling on, and make it longer or make it shorter, whatever I want to do. These work good. If you use the Dolly, the original location where the fish finder was is right here. It was in the way of the Dolly. To me, it was. On the side of the battery, on each side, there is this fuse or breaker. If you were to overtax the motor on this side or that side, one of these would pop. Well, when it pops, see the little black thing there? Well, that pops out. I mean, only a little bit, but it pops out. And just like a circuit breaker in your house, you just push it back in again and it will go back to work. So if you've got no power and you can't figure out what's going on, just check these. There's one on each side of the boat. Okay, what's this red bag? It's a waterproof bag, and it has all kinds of things in it. It has tools in there, more tools. I got some ropes in here, a couple of them. I have this, a kayak rescue ladder. It's like that. It's a strap with a foot on it, basically. To me, this is how I would use it. And now it hangs down the water, and I can put my foot on it down there to help me step into the boat. I had this for a kayak. It was such a neat idea that I kept it here. I have some just plain bags. I've got some emergency supplies, some snacks, in case I ever was broken down for a long time or something. Paper towels, there's a spark plug in there, a spare spark plug, and things like that. Whatever I thought I needed is how I keep it. It's waterproof, it's small. You fold this over a couple of times, you bring it around, snap it. You can attach that to something. It originally had a strap on it. I don't keep it that way, but it's usually sitting in the bottom of the boat. This is the newest Dolly that Freedom Electric has. I also have the old one. The new one is this one, however, it doesn't look like this. I took two of the tires from the old Dolly that I had and I mounted them here. And the reason is because I have a really thick lawn, and behind my house is a body of water that I like to fish in. I have slid this underneath the boat and dollied this around the back. It's difficult to move on this kind of grass. I put the extra wheels on it. I am sure that that made a little bit of a difference. I don't put it into the back very often, but when I do, this is how I get it there. This is one of the things that I've done in the past that just didn't work out for me. These are called slides. You put them on the bunks of the trailer. It supposedly allows the boat to slide on and off a little bit easier. I used it a bunch of times. Maybe it's the kind of material that the boat is made of. They kind of would stick to this material. Instead of having something that made the boat slide off the trailer a little bit easier, it actually made it more difficult. This would go over, there's a lip here, that went over the last part of the bunk, the back bunk, and these flat ones went into different spots all the way up and down the bunk, but I just didn't like them. At the time, I thought they would be wonderful, but not so much. Where do you put whatever fishing things you are using right now? Your plastics, your scale, lures, packages of worms, all that kind of stuff. This little container actually came from my Hobie Cat kayak that I had before I bought the twin troller. This was an accessory you could buy. I decided to keep it because it was really handy. And I keep all kinds of things, whatever I happen to be using for the day, plastics, I keep it here. I've got a marker, I've got fluorocarbon line here. Whatever I want for the day. I keep my scale here. And there's a little strap. Where do I keep it? Right underneath my seat that I'm sitting in on the floor. If I want something, I just reach down and grab it. I can set this up on top of my little workbench in the front there, pick out whatever I want, and it works great. This is my throttle extension for my motor. If I am fishing with two people and I've got two seats in here, I don't bring the gas motor. We just stay closer. We go a pretty good ways. We just don't go as far as I would possibly if I had the outboard. But if I'm alone, I'm generally fishing from about the middle of the boat. I fire up the motor and I use this to extend it so that I can reach back when I'm in the seat and I can drive. I can adjust the throttle by turning this. I always wear my kill strap. The original was not long enough, so I bought another one of these. I can grab a hold of this, have this around this, and run while I'm sitting in the seat. I can't imagine trying to sit way back where you could just hold on to the grip for the motor way back here, because the boat would rise in the front. This is something I highly recommend. Right here is a 12-volt cigarette style lighter type connector, so I could connect to it anything that had that kind of connection on it. There's also a USB outlet here. Both of these have a wire that runs under into the box, picks up electricity off here. I don't use them very often, but if I wanted to, they're here. Now this red mat that's on the floor I installed, this is actually a workout mat that I cut down to fit in here. It has interlocks that came with it, so they keep this all together, but I can pull this up real quickly. It weighs almost nothing, and it's extremely quiet. If you drop something in the boat, it doesn't hit that hard surface on the bottom, and this is something I really love. That's a paddle. It is a wooden paddle, and I keep it in the boat. I have used it a couple of times just to turn me around or a number of reasons, so I like having that paddle and I would recommend you do too. All right, what is that? Well, that's called a stakeout pole. It's got a T at the top and a rope hanging down. And in this case, it hangs down to a float with a little hook on the end. And this comes from my kayak, although if I wanted to anchor the boat, I could use this. It's about 8 feet tall, so I need to be in around 8 feet or less of water, and you stick that into the ground. I also have some mushroom anchors. They're large anchors. I think they're around 8 or 9 pounds. If I really needed to anchor the boat, I may use those also. So here's a couple of choices. I have read how new guys particularly want to know how to anchor the boat if they had to. What do you do with your keys while you're in the boat? Do you keep them in your pocket? Do you stash it in one of these holes here on the side? What happens if, I don't know, some kind of emergency happened and you don't want to be losing those things? Your cell phone, your wallet, your keys, those are all important things. Let me just drop that in to show you something. This is a waterproof bag, and if you puff it up a little bit, this will float. You could put your keys, your wallet, your cell phone, your reading glasses, anything small enough to fit in here, and you can put it in the boat. Now, I usually put it either way in the front or I put it way in the back, but nonetheless, that's what I do with my important things. And if you put in more things that are a little bit heavy, just puff it up a little bit more, roll it up, and it certainly will float. We seem to have a lot of new boat owners lately. On the Facebook Twin Troller group, people are asking questions all the time. I kind of figured I could put this together and see if maybe I could answer some of those questions. If you have more questions, you can always contact me. Most of the things I talked about, I've got videos about. Just search through my videos. I hope you learned something. Even if you owned your boat for a long time, maybe you got a new idea. Or maybe you have some other ideas that work better than what I've done. If so, I'd like to hear them. If you've subscribed, I really appreciate it. Thank you, it helps my channel. If you haven't subscribed, that would be very good too. You can always make comments below. Give me a thumbs up, like it. Thanks for watching. Bye now.